What's up, guys? Joe Robert here, back again with episode 9 of the POD Pod. It's a print-on-demand podcast brought to you by PODninjas.com. Super excited to keep this thing going for you guys. I am having a ton of fun recording these, and I have, I hope that you guys are having fun listening to them as well, because I enjoy making them, and then if you guys enjoy listening to them, then it's a win-win. So definitely excited that you guys have decided to tune in. Again, if you haven't checked out the rest of the podcast episodes, you guys can go on over to podninjas.com/podcast and you can listen there. So today I want to share a little bit of some personal things about why I do what I do, but I also wanted to talk to you guys about why I think people don't either succeed or don't reach the place that they want to with really anything that they do, but more specifically with their print-on-demand store. And one of the main things that I've noticed, obviously I work with a lot of different people, on YouTube with my channel, or in my Facebook group, or with my mentorship program, right? Like, obviously I interact with a lot of people from all different skill sets, right? Like, there's people that are brand new, they've never launched a Facebook ad ever, and then there's people that have launched a ton of ads and made a ton of sales. They just maybe they can't make profitable sales, but they're selling a lot of items. So I've worked with a ton of different people, and I've noticed that there is one characteristic that all of them share when they fail, right, or when they don't succeed. And for me, I've noticed that when I've struggled, right, with print on demand, if I reflect on one thing, it usually puts me into a space or a mode or a frame of mind that allows me to overcome and basically figure it out, right? Like, that thing is my why, okay? You hear people talk about this a lot, like that you need to have a reason to do what you're doing, right? Like, a lot of people that fail or don't succeed, like, they don't have a why. They don't have a mission. They don't have anything driving them to succeed with print on demand. And you need that. You need to identify something to motivate you, right? Like, and I'm not just talking about like, oh, I have this dream to go and sit on the beach and make money and, drink pina coladas all day, right? Like, that's not even feasible. Like, you guys are not, no matter how successful you are with print on demand, you're not going to be able to just do nothing all day. Like, this is a lot of work. And that's why it's super important for you guys to have a real, idea or a real dream or a real why behind what you're doing. Like, this is work, right? Whether you're, killing it or whether you're just struggling to make a few sales. Like, you're going to have to give this tons of time a week. It will be a job. At times it could feel like a full-time job. Like, it's going to take a lot of work. And you guys are going to need to come up with a why for why you do this stuff. And for me, I want to share my why today, right? Like, I want to share with you guys why I do what I do, why I'm so driven, why I juggle 5 different projects at once, and really what my goal is in life. And to understand why I do what I do, I want to share a little bit of my background with you guys on this podcast today. So basically, right, like, I am currently 28 years old. I have a wife. We've been married for about 4 years. I have a 1-year-old daughter, and we have another baby on the way. We are due with that baby in 6 months from now. So obviously lots on my plate, right? Like, have a wife, a couple of kids, soon to be a couple of kids. So there's a lot going on, right, in my household. And like I said, I'm 28 years old. I went to college. I have a bachelor's degree. I have a master's degree. And I have a decent amount of student loans. And currently, my wife we are very fortunate that she is able to stay home and raise my baby, right? Like, she's able to be home. We don't have to pay a ton of money for daycare, and my daughter gets the pleasure of seeing mommy all day, right? Like, that's pretty cool, right? Like, I'm 28 years old, and my wife is about to be 25, and that is the life that we are currently living. And obviously that takes, a little bit of financial stability. And sometimes people get weird when they talk about money, but the truth is, the reason why we do what we do every single day is because of money. Like, everybody wants money, and money, if you had to break it down, right? Like, out of everything in this world, probably the thing that you want most is money. Maybe it's not money, but it's definitely in your top three. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like, money brings security. Money brings, the ability to provide for people that you love. And, I don't look at money as like this thing that is like powerful, or it's going to give me, pleasure just rolling around in money all day. No, like, money to me is the ability to buy my daughter the stuffed animal that she's pointing at in the mall and see the smile on her face when I give it to her, and I don't have to ever worry about how much that costs. Or, if we are going to go on vacation, right? Like, I want to be able to do whatever we want on vacation and without fear that it's costing me too much money. I want to put my daughter in a gymnastics class because that is fun for her. I want to be able to, buy her everything that she needs, right? And I'm not just talking about stupid stuff. Like, I'm talking about the regular stuff that you buy a kid that would stress you out, right? And I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, but that's what I'm trying to get at in this episode of the podcast, right? Is that I have a lot going on, and in my professional life, right? Like, I do have a real job, and in that real job, I make really good money, and that's why I still do it. And I don't do e-commerce full time. It seems like I do e-commerce full time because I stay up all night and I get up very, very early and I work on it. And I also spend a lot of time in the car and on the go. So I have a lot of time that I can maintain my connection to the e-commerce world. And the reason why I haven't left my job, like I said, is because I make really a good income, and I have some pretty good benefits right now, and I have a really flexible schedule, and there's just too many good things going on with that job that I don't want to leave it yet until e-commerce gets to the point where it's nearly impossible not to go into it full time. So talking about my why, right? Like, why do I try so much with e-commerce? Why do I have so many projects? Why am I doing this podcast? Why do I have a YouTube channel? Why do I have my own Shopify store? Why do I have a mentorship program, right? Like, why am I doing all this? Well, my goal right now is my family and I, like, we own a house. It was our first house that we bought, so it's a great house, right? Like a 3-bedroom house. In a nice neighborhood, dead-end street, and has everything that we currently need. But it is not by any means our dream home. At some point when this new baby comes, we're probably going to be a little bit space constrained. We don't really have too big of a yard right now, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but there's just some things that obviously we would like to have in what we call our dream home. So at some point we're going to outgrow this home, and my goal is to do e-commerce and use my regular job that I go to Monday through Friday to put ourselves in a place where we can buy a house with cash. Right? Like, that's my goal. I want to save enough money where I can just go buy a house with cash, and it'll have everything we ever need, and I never need to buy a new house again. And I continue to work my regular job as well as do e-commerce, right? That's my goal, right? Like, I want to go buy a house someday, and I want to do it, and I want to buy it with cash. So that's my why, right? So, like, when I start thinking about, like, oh, I'm too tired, like, I don't want to get up at 3:30 in the morning to go make print-on-demand designs, or it's late, I'm tired, I want to go to bed, I don't want to check on these Facebook ads. Like when I start thinking like that, right, like that's when I have it in my head, like, hey, if I do this for tonight and I continue to do this for the next few years, we're going to get ourselves in a position where we can buy this house. And that excites the hell out of me, right? Because I'm super passionate about this dream that I have, and I believe that it is possible. And when you believe those two things, right? When you're excited about something and you believe that your dream is possible, nothing can stop you, because you are an incredible creation in this universe where you have the ability to act, okay? And when you act, things are going to happen. And that's what drives me, right? Is I have so much going on. So much, guys, like so much. If you guys are ever talking to me and you talk through like, hey, I'm just too busy to do that, or I didn't have time, or you know what, this is taking too much time of my life, like I don't believe you, because I literally have time right now to work a full-time job, juggle all of my e-commerce ventures, have a family, have extended family that I see, and I'm still able to do all of it. And I do it, at all hours. I wake up super early, I stay up late sometimes, and I'm able to do it, okay? And the reason why I'm making this episode is because I'm getting I don't want to say frustrated, but there's a few people that I've interacted with lately that have kind of given up, and it frustrates me because I haven't seen them give any real effort. I've seen them basically act like this thing is going to happen overnight, where they're going to all of a sudden be able to quit their job over, launching a few winning products on their Shopify store. And that's bullshit, because even if you have several winning products, you need to make sure that those are going to sustain you, and it's going to take a ton of work. Like, people sometimes act like they're just going to launch some Facebook ads and everything's going to run on autopilot, and they're just going to sit back and sip on pina coladas and make a bunch of money. And that's not the case, right? Like, you guys are going to have to continue to develop new products. You're going to have to continue to monitor Facebook ads, continue to interact with your customers, and it does become, a very, very busy and workload heavy operation. And sometimes I don't think that people realize that. So I think that you guys need to focus on your why. And if you don't have a why, you need to get one, because it's going to help you a lot when you feel, stressed out or you feel overworked. And one thing too, right? Like, if you don't have a why and you're just doing this like for fun or something, like if you don't have a why, you're never going to actually put the effort in needed to have this thing be everything you want it to be, right? So because I have this why, because I'm focused on this end goal, that's what drives me every single day. And every day that I'm not doing something, or every day that I take a I don't know, how do I say it? But every day that I don't put 100% effort into this thing, I feel like I'm robbing myself of my dream, right? I'm so focused on this dream of buying this house someday that nothing is going to stop me, and that I'm going to continue to do this stuff every single day until my dream is realized. And when you guys get that mentality, right, when you guys have that in your mind, that nothing can stop you, that you will figure it out and you will do whatever it takes, you guys are going to get there. And that's all you guys have to realize with print on demand, is that you have to have a why, and you have to freaking execute a plan, okay? Like, you have to come up with a plan, have a why, and execute it, okay? And don't stop until you freaking get there. So that's my message for today. Thank you guys for listening. I get a little bit fired up at times, but thank you guys for listening, and see you guys in the next episode, all right?